Hi, back on Play It Forward with Bassma Matta, writer, director, filmmaker. Bassma, how'd I do with the name?
You're doing great. You're
Thank
doing
you.
great.
Can you
Yeah.
introduce yourself briefly and the film storyline, if you don't mind?
So yes, my name is Basma, and I made this film a while ago, like maybe 5 years ago. It's a very, very short film. It's sort of like a mock audition, just to kind of satirize and make fun of the audition process because I like working with actors, and obviously I love filmmaking. And I thought this would be a fun thing to do with my actor.
Yes, the film is called Audition.
Yeah.
Agreed. It is, the audition process is ridiculous, can be ridiculous, especially with young filmmakers that are just, getting started and learning and are insecure and uncertain of directing
Yeah.
actors, and can also tend to be a little, I don't know. I know I've been there, just um, trying to be professional without really knowing how and kind of faking it and then just so it's brutal for actors, can be brutal for actors. And there's, no doubt, I think a lot of filmmakers who are sympathetic of it and, understand what an actor's going like. And you're asking for a human being to do emotional dog tricks for you right in front of you. And it's can be heart wrenching. So the very first question to play it forward is, where did the seed of this idea, an emotional place, live in you?
Well, I like the component of like working with actors is one of my favorite things. I like performance and I studied performance and like stage. So there's so much of it that I appreciate and understand, um, where like actors are really expected to, embody and create experiences and put a piece of themselves out there, for us to like experience with them. So I don't know, I just love it. And so with like as this start, like acting is one thing and then getting the job is another, obviously. And like the audition process is, um it should be fun. It's like a job interview. But I don't know, like I always love finding the satirical and like the sarcastic view on things. And I feel like I've auditioned to places before, and like my process of it and my experience of it is always like, everything going wrong, or you want it to be like the best thing, and like you want to go out there and like have a great mini performance of something, but then you realize no, that's not how it works. And I don't know, I just think it's funny. So I was trying to like see where the funny is in like a difficult situation.
So the second question of the show is, what do you think the message of the movie is now as a viewer watching it?
Oh, that's yeah. um Yeah, it's always hard to answer that because like it can go in so many different ways. I mean, I think that for this one, just because it's short and sweet and to the point, I just wanted to like highlight the actor. And I think the method that I was doing it was just trying to focus on like how like films kind of embody like the whole world. I was trying to like I had very specific rules for myself as to like keeping the screen and what was on the frame, what was off the frame, what we saw, what we heard. So I wanted to like keep the focus on the experience of the actor, and like everything that gets thrown on them and like how it changes. So I don't know. I feel like short answer would be like a glimpse into, um, the mind and the heart of the actor as they're trying to figure out, an audition. But on the other hand, not a very short answer. It's kind of like a look at the process and how it goes, and how like it's compared to like job interviews where you go and you want to present yourself and you want to present your skills and what you do to get a job. Auditioning and acting is different, where the system is kind of like it expects more of the actor to, put on and like, stretch so much of themselves and like play along and like do the like ridiculous things. I mean, obviously acting is about playing and it's about having a good time, but it's also like there are so many specifics to like a part and a character and like the world of the part and the character and how everything comes together. And from the point of view of like a casting director or director, the filmmakers, you want to get you want to know how an actor fits into the part, but also how they can embody everything that you want them to and how they can fit into the larger story with other actors. So you put them through all of these things. And they just have to, jump through all the tests. So the sort of message and the point was just to like give the perspective of the other side of the actor going through this.
When I was watching it, right around the climax, the actor says, "I feel like I'm not doing what you need me to do."
Yeah.
And so that really, plays with the theme of rejection and the insecurity of an actor wanting to go in there and perform and not being able to perform to satisfaction.
Yeah.
And that, excruciating, can be an excruciating demand on a person's psyche.
Mhm.
You're going in here and you're being judged, and this, it's not uncommon, I think, for a lot of actors to feel insecure in life, and especially, I mean, for people, especially going under, an audition circumstances. So I couldn't help but think about relationships,
Mhm.
how we humans in relationships, particularly close, intimate relationships, but they could be familial with the parents, or lovers, whatever it might be, children. And when we're thinking, I'm not able to do what you need, right? And there's
Mhm.
this feeling of rejection. And so to me, that was the deepest message of the movie. How do we deal with our own feelings of rejection in those relationship type circumstances? How perhaps others can make us feel rejected? And then really, what do we do? Because those can be traumatic events.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts about that?
I do. I mean, that's very much at the heart of it. Because within like the context of an audition and like um, you're trying to fit yourself into a certain frame. And obviously, because there's a character and like, actors want to embody, they go through lengths and lengths of that. But it's exactly what, you know, um, where you're talking about where like it's just a stretch of wanting to be um, what others are expecting and what others want. And yeah, it's just I know that within also like um, auditions and like acting, from my experience, whenever I work with an actor, I want to see what they can give and I want them to leave a piece of themselves in it and like to do it in their own way and in their own style and not try to change too much to like fit into a certain box or whatever. And so I feel like the more personal you get, the more of who you are, the more um, you know you don't have to, this is a performance world, but you actually, if you're authentic about who you are and like you bring your skills and you bring everything, that makes a performance that much more wonderful and that much more special. But yeah, I mean, in obviously in the context of the audition, people are casting directors and directors are looking for something very specific, so that kind of adds more to it where like there are also restrictions. But yeah, in like beyond that world of audition, it is very much about like um it is like quite the struggle to um see who you are and see how others perceive you and like the gap in between that.
Well, I think you hit it on the head, and I love how you said, the actor's trying to fit a frame, literally. And
Hmm.
then when you started to talk about the expectations, and I think that's huge, when expectations are placed on us and we accept those expectations, right? We agree to those expectations because we don't have to. We can
Hmm.
say, like you said, oh, well, we can be authentic, and I'm going to prioritize my own inner voice and the authenticity and the truth of that over your expectation. And I think in life, as in an audition process, that's when we get into difficulty, right? Is when we
Yeah.
try to take on and meet other people's expectations.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah.
that fair?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
All right, awesome. Well, that's what I took away from the audition. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Basma, Besma, last
That's
question. Thank you.
okay.
How have you been changed since making this movie?
Oh, wow, a lot. Well, obviously, it's a very, very short, but I'll give you just a little bit about the process of making it. Um, so I was approaching it in a very like, I just wanted to make a comedy, right? Um, but the way I did it, it wasn't actually scripted. It was improvised, and the whole thing was pretty challenging, and I put it on myself, like I'm in it too, like I'm actually doing the voice of the casting director, and I am directing her, and I am sort of portraying the character behind the camera, and we're playing it together. So what we did was, the actress Julia, she's wonderful, and I knew that she was into improv, um, and it was sort of, so I didn't want to do something scripted because I wanted to play with like everything that could go wrong, and I wanted it to be live, and I wanted it to be like very present. So with Julia, we sort of had like this treasure hunt. I told her like the structure of what we wanted to do. And we prepped the situation, we prepped the characters, and like all the details of the story, and like the background and the context of the like the story of the what she was auditioning for. And then we jumped in. And so we had like markers that we were following. So for me, the process was quite enriching because I'm very much about the structure and the method of like the stage and the film, and I'm all about rehearsal, and I'm all about, you know, coming prepared and knowing what to do, and like rehearsing the lines over and over. So this was very, very different, and like threw everything out. And I think that was such a good process for me to learn and to see. Because in terms of, I think going into making films, I don't want to make mistakes, and I want to be as prepared as I can, and I don't want things to go wrong. And obviously, that's not how making films work. Unless something goes wrong, then you can say you have a film. So I don't know, like this making it very a live performed thing, even though like obviously it's recorded and I heavily edited it. Um, it was such an interesting thing for me to like break through and give the actor the space to be, and the space to like play and work and like have room to make mistakes and have room to do things that I didn't ask her to do, or to just kind of color outside of the line. And we were both doing it. And to see what happens. And like in the post production, in the editing, it was fun to like see what was unexpected versus what was expected. So like we had our markers, and we had our plan, and we had our treasure hunt, and we had the things that we had agreed we were trying, like we were gonna hit, and we were gonna try to achieve, and like our goals. And we did all of that, and it was wonderful. So it was very exciting to see what came out of it. But it was also fun to see what was around it, and what happened. And it was very much, it was about the process, obviously, and not just the final product. And it was fun. Like it was really, really fun and enjoyable. But I think there were like many little lessons that I took that once I get back into my structured, filmmaking style, everything carries. So, it was good to like shake it up.
For sure. Yeah, I think having room to improvise and play and make mistakes,
Yeah.
having that be a safe thing to do, and then realize, whoa, that's a great mistake. The happy accident. I'm going to use that
Yeah.
is a great thing to learn doing anything, project based. Um,
Maybe for comedy too. Like it's a very fertile ground for comedic, like we were
yeah,
obviously creating for the situation, but also for character. Like we worked on her character quite a bit, There were things that I didn't reveal to her what that we were gonna do, like very, very few things. Like she knew everything. So I wanted her to be very, very present to like react to all of the twists and turns and things that I was gonna throw at her. So I think I was trying to cultivate this situational comedy too. I mean, it wasn't that ha ha comedy, but it was like, experimental type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Bassma Matta, writer, director, filmmaker. Film is Audition. Thank you for sharing all that with us. Nominated by 𝘈𝘶𝘥𝘪𝘵𝘯. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank
Keep
you
us
so much.
posted. Next
I
film.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well,
All right, everybody, play it forward. We're out. Till next time.